standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. Holy, holy, holy ground. We are standing on holy ground. Love and light and joy abound. We are standing on holy ground. We are standing on holy ground.
Yes, we
Good
are.
morning. Are y'all awake out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, welcome to CSL this morning. How is everybody this beautiful, beautiful day?
Fabulous.
Nice. But right now, I just invite you to breathe with me here. Breathe a mindful breath and just relax into this beautiful day outside this morning. Just feel that presence of love expand within you and feel your heart warming your body, warming with a tingling, glowing light. Can you feel that tingle? We join together this morning as CSL. We merge our lights as one light, and we expand our love as one love, focusing joy and peace upon the world as we speak our purpose statement together from this space of perfect harmony. So in your handout is our purpose statement. Let's speak it together now. As an intentional spiritual community, the purpose of CSL is to be a living environment for individuals to realize that we are all unique emanations of God, the love intelligence governing the universe. We embody the truth of our oneness with God, and we consciously practice this truth in our everyday life. Through the exploration of new thought, ageless wisdom, and the energy of unconditioned love, we are dedicated to individual transformation and to being a beneficial presence in the world.
I will make a quiet place, a quiet place within my mind, and I will listen, Holy Spirit, I will listen. I will make a quiet place within my heart, Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will listen, Holy Spirit. I will listen. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet place. I will make a quiet
And in this quietness, please join me as I consciously go within to that place where I am consciously aware that Spirit is all there is, where we are joined together in the oneness, the place of our stillness, the place of our livingness. And in this place, I am conscious of that Spirit dwelling within, without, through, and as me. The one reality, the one presence, the one goodness of all creation. And I know that we each are a part of this divine, immersed in its love, joy, peace, harmony, that we are all those things through this creation and with each other. And from this place of knowing and this place of love, I affirm the active presence of Spirit living through each of our individual expressions. The all goodness of Spirit is always available in each of our activities, in each situation that arises. And I affirm that we speak our divine word from our divine wisdom, words of peace, compassion, happiness, and joy. We are open to our lives being a living expression of the goodness of the divine, of Spirit. And I declare that we speak our words in trust, knowing that all of our needs are met, that we are guided and directed to our highest expression. Living in the divine, I declare that from our awareness of our connection with Spirit, our words reflect the truth of our being, the truth of the divine. And for each request in the prayer chest, I know that Spirit is already active, that the goodness and the allness and the wholeness is already being revealed in each situation, that each person is guided and directed to their highest expression, that the way is made smooth and the solutions are clear, that there is clarity and openness, and that divine goodness is being revealed, and all is well. And today I give thanks for this service, this wonderful place, this tree, and for all that we see about us. I give thanks for the volunteers who give of their time
for the staff who devote so much energy to making this an experience of the Spirit within and without us. Oh, what a wonderful place this is to be. So I give thanks for the truth of our being, for the divine expressing is each and every one of us as we go about our lives this week, reflecting the true essence of who we are. So I just release this word, knowing that it is already so in the mind of God. It is already in fruition. And I just release this word and let it be as we join together and declare, and so it is.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul.
I'd like to call your attention to the prayer chest. If you would just like to feel that Spirit moving through you as you more often this week, making your way smoother and feeling that connection, please put your request in the prayer chest, and the practitioner will be doing affirmative prayer on your behalf this week. From Maya Angelou. The desire to reach for the stars is ambitious. The desire to reach hearts is wise. And from Ernest Holmes. The word that we speak is the law of our lives, and nothing hinders its operation but ourselves.
Yep.
Okay, so we are studying the seventh principle from the 10 principles of the laws of manifestation, or a principle is the same thing as a law. Okay, so we're studying the 7th one. These are according to John Randolph Price from his book Empowerment, and we're taking the whole year of 2021 to look at this process. He says these come in order. We're on the 7th one, and the whole month of August we will be talking about the spoken word. Okay, so this week, the whole month is a spoken word. This week, our focus is speak wisdom. Okay, it's kind of funny after last week and the week before and all this. I mean, I just really love spirituality. I just really love metaphysics. And I know I can get really gung-ho. And I went home and I said to Roy, I think I'll make this next week a little lighter. You know, maybe not quite so heavy duty. And so, hey, we're starting out with a whole chapter from Charles Fillmore. I don't know how this happened, right? And so I just like to start in when we're talking about the spoken word. Charles Fillmore is a co-founder of the Unity philosophy, and I've just really enjoyed, I love all of the writers, and I've read a lot of Ernest Holmes. I grew up in religious science. I was a teenager at Mile High Church in Denver, and I grew up with a lot of Ernest Holmes, and I've read a lot, but I didn't really necessarily delve into Charles Fillmore all that much, and I'm loving Charles Fillmore, so I just have to share it with y'all, right?
Yes.
So he has a whole chapter, and I'm not reading the whole chapter, no worries, okay? Stay awake. And what I'm trying to do is using these old metaphysics, which really the power, you can feel it when you read this. You can feel the spirit of these words when you read these things. And I'm really trying to bring them back into recognizable, maybe, I'm not interpreting any of those, but maybe using exchangeable words so they're a little more familiar. When I was growing up, my mom was a minister of religious science, okay? And so when I was a teenager, of course, I was responsible for everything that happened in my life, right? And she would talk, and she'd use really big words like consciousness and things. And I remember one time saying to her, Mom, no one knows what you're talking about when you use those big words. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe they do. So anyway, yeah, I laugh at myself a lot these days. So out of his book, Dynamics for Living, Charles Fillmore had chapter 7, and it's called The Spoken Word. So I just like to share some of this. And he even says in here, in pure metaphysics, okay, so we're talking about the spoken word. He says, in pure metaphysics, there is but one word, the Word of God. This is the original creative word or thought of being, okay? Divine mind, and I added, or God, he's speaking about God. Divine mind or God creates under a law, a mental law. Okay, but that's the law of cause and effect, okay? Or in the Bible they say, it is done unto you as you believe. He says, first is mind, then the idea in mind of what the act shall be, and then the act itself. So you see that threefold nature there. The divine mind, in divine mind, the idea is referred to as the word. Okay, so when we talk about the word, he's talking about the idea of God, or also the idea of man or woman. So he says man, and he says man all the time, so I'm adding woman, so no one comes up to me and says, what about woman? Okay, so man/woman is the completion of the word. The perfect word of God is spiritual man or woman. It is through spiritual man that all things are made. It is through spiritual man that all things are made. There is but one idea in divine mind. Okay? One idea of man in divine mind. That idea is the perfect pattern of human character, the spiritual man or woman. And as an imitator of divine mind, meaning we are made in the image and likeness of God. So as an imitator of God, we have power to form and make manifest whatsoever we idealize. But unless our thoughts are unified with divine mind and guided in their operations, by infinite wisdom, our thought forms are perishable. So that means our thought forms are temporary if they're not in alignment with the one. Okay? They're not permanent. Therefore, they're not of real substance. Okay? The self of man or woman is spiritual. When it is in direct conscious unity with the divine mind, it has permanent formative power. Even in his ignorant use of thought, man's mind is forming conditions, even to the changing of the face of nature itself. We've seen that, right? Every thought that goes forth from the brain sends vibrations into the surrounding atmosphere and moves the realm of things to action. That's pretty powerful. The effect is in proportion to the ability of the thinker to concentrate his mental forces. The average thought vibration produces but temporary results. Every idea originating in divine mind or God is expressed or pressed out into the mind of man. And through the thought of man, the divine mind idea is brought to the outer plane of consciousness. This thought takes expression as the spoken word. Following the creative law from the formless to the formed, we can see how an idea in divine mind is grasped by man's ego. It takes form in his thought, and how it is later expressed through the spoken word. If man conformed to the divine law, his word would make things instantly. I think Jesus did that, right? We have lost, in a measure, knowledge of the steps in the creative process from the within to the without. When we believe what we hear, there is formed in us the substance of that word. Words of truth from a zealous man possess dynamic power to heal and bless, because the spiritual man enters into the word. When the zone of spirit from which healing words emanate is unobstructed, they feed the souls of men and are creative as well as recreative. We have the power to recreate our life as well. This is why the sayings of the prophets and the mystics have such enduring qualities. They are attached by invisible currents of life to the one great spirit. They have within them the germ of perfect wholeness that keeps them perpetually increasing. Have you ever thought of germs like perfect wholeness? Isn't that great? The word of truth has life in it. It has power to restore and make whole. It cannot perish or grow less with the changes that come with the fleeting years. The more spiritual the individual is who gives forth the words, the more enduring they are. And the more powerfully the words move men, the more surely they awaken them to their divine nature. The words of Jesus were given to common people according to the world's standard by a carpenter in a remote corner of the earth. Yet these words have moved men for more than 1900 years to realize, to dare, and to do as no other words that were ever uttered. Jesus spoke in terms of that inner word which creates all things. He knew that his words were vivified with life essence and a moving power that would demonstrate the truth of his statement. These words have rung through the souls of men and set them afire with God's Spirit throughout the ages. This is because they are spiritual words. Words that have within them the seeds of a divine life, of a perfect wholeness. They grow in the minds of all who give them a place. So Charles Fillmore has given us the formula for using our spoken word for permanent good and not just temporary or passing good or fleeting, changing good, which is what the world symbolizes for us, fleetingness and temporary good. Okay, so he's given us this formula for permanent good. He said, unless our thoughts are unified with divine mind and guided in their operations by infinite wisdom, then our thought forms will be perishable. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about speaking wisdom. And I'm just going to look up in my trusty little revealing word here, I'm going to give the metaphysical meaning of wisdom so we have something to grasp what we're going for. He says wisdom, intuitive knowing, spiritual intuition, the voice of God within as the source of our understanding, mental action based on the Christ truth within. Wisdom includes judgment, discrimination, intuition, and all the departments of mind that come under the head of knowing. This knowing capacity transcends intellectual knowledge. Spiritual discernment always places wisdom above the other faculties of the mind and reveals that knowledge and intelligence provide additional support to understanding. These attributes come from the Spirit of Christ within us. The price that we must pay for the conscious attainment of divine wisdom and understanding, you ready, is letting go of the personal self and its limited beliefs, right? He says, Paul saw the Christ waiting at the door of every soul when he wrote, "Awake, thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall shine upon thee and out from thee." Okay? So that's all Charles Fillmore I'm going to read today. Hoping you're loving it as much as I do. I love him.
What year was that?
The book, I will have to check. 1959, it says right there. And it seems original. I don't know. So let's break this down just a little bit. We could say we want to speak from our intuition, to speak wisdom into the world. That's an easy way to say that, right? And often, maybe even always, and we just aren't really aware of it, our intuition comes to us as our first thought. Usually subtle and quiet and sure. This thought doesn't really push its agenda ever. That's why it's called the still, small voice. The more we can learn to listen to our intuition, the more obvious it becomes to us. And we can act from that wisdom and speak God's word as our word. Okay? We align with that divine mind. So I would venture to say that usually we speak a lot of knowledge. We study, and I'm not bashing knowledge at all. We study and learn, and we know about a lot of things intellectually as humans, huh? Our words spew a lot of facts and mostly opinion about certain subjects, okay? But speaking our knowledge does not carry the same power that speaking our wisdom does, right? That's what we just heard out of Charles Fillmore. The power comes in the spiritual word. Intellectual knowledge comes from, among other things, learning a set of facts. Mostly anyone can learn a set of facts if they put their mind to it. Or it comes from past experiences. So do you see from a set of facts that we're learning or past experiences that we are relating to, do you see that it is not alive in the now presence with heightened spiritual energy? Speaking wisdom is intuited from the divine, a knowing beyond reasoning. It's a knowing beyond intellect. Wisdom is intuitive knowing. It is felt as an energy and comes to us in a different way than memorizing facts or calling up memories. When we intuit, we receive. We allow an idea to enter our awareness. When we use our intellectual knowledge, we generate thought, using past experience as our guide to form an idea. Can you see the difference in those? Wisdom is the voice of God within, coming to us as our intuitive knowing. It transcends intellectual knowing because it comes directly from God. So I did peruse the internet a little bit, and I came up with a few things here. Here are a few differences in knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing what to say. Wisdom is knowing when to say it.
Yep.
Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in the fruit bowl or a fruit salad, it says. And a Japanese proverb says, knowledge without wisdom is a load of books on the back of an ass. I had to put that one in there because I got to say ass. But anyway, so I'm sure you've all heard this quote by Aristotle. He said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Okay, so let's move to knowing ourselves just a little bit. How do we know ourselves? And there's a lot of ways, no one right answer, okay? And we only have limited time, so I'm going to give what I think. Here you go. I think asking ourselves the right questions helps us to know ourselves, or that's one way. There's no doubt that if we want to know ourselves better, we have to spend some time with ourselves and study ourselves. We talked a little about that, observing ourselves before. That's a big part of that. So asking ourselves some hard questions, going beyond just the day-to-day habits that we perform mindlessly that make up our weeks and our months and our years. So in our spiritual time that we have all set aside, which we have, right? Our spiritual time, we can start to ask ourselves meaningful questions. Questions like, who am I really? What are my values? What matters most to me? What is my purpose in life? And using our spiritual tools like meditation and prayer, we can start to get to know ourselves honestly. We talked about that a lot last week too, telling ourselves the truth. Staying centered in our newly opened heart, we delve into this study of ourselves and we find a renewed faith in who we really are. And we can begin to connect with something beyond ourselves. We can begin to tap into and hear that spiritual intuition. Following our intuition is a journey in uncertainty, for sure. It can be scary and it can be new, but it leads us to a deep conviction of faith in that infinite, invisible source in which we all live and move and have our being. It can lead us to ease in our life and even to true and lasting happiness. Anybody want that? Okay. So, from the Ultimate Guide to Intuition on the website ecoinstitute.org, in this article, they're talking about the amazing benefits of meditation. And so, but it fit right in here into intuition. And the title of it is How Meditation Fixes Broken Intuition. So I thought that was, and so it starts with a quote. And the quote says, "It seems that my intuition is great at leading me down the wrong path. If meditation magnifies this, obviously faulty ability of mine, won't it just steer me off a cliff? And I thought that's a really valid question, because I think that's true. A lot of people do feel like they're listening to their intuition and it's not guiding them to their highest good. And so I thought, okay, this is good. Let's read what this guy has to say. And so the question is, won't it lead me off a cliff? He says, no. That's simple. No. Either your intuition is weak or its signal is clouded. It's not forever broken. He says, here are the two main reasons for faulty intuition, which, that's just something we made up, and how meditation fixes both, which I agree with. Number one, our intuition is never really developed. If you thought your legs weren't real, and therefore didn't trust or believe in them, and never used them, what would happen? Idle atop your wheelchair, they would quickly dwindle away. And he says, likewise, people who see their intuition as sorcery will watch it as it shrivels up like a raisin in the sun. If life were a simple math problem, then using your logical or analytical mind all the time would be fine. But it's not. Life often requires finding your way through the dark, figuring out things as you go along. Many decisions need to be made on gut feelings rather than, this happened to me before, so I know what to do now experience. Boy, we do that a lot. I know I do that a lot, right? Pull up those past experiences. It's talking about going on that gut feeling. Thankfully, whether you believe in intuition or not, meditation can change your brain to make better decisions. Wait, let me say that again. Meditation can change your brain to make better decisions. Then, if you still don't believe in it, you can call it something else, like success magic, because your friends and family will be asking about the wonderful improvements in your life, and you got to tell them something, right?
Is my success magic.
Success magic. So, number two. So this is the second reason why your intuition might feel like it's broken. Let's see. That you might have a cloudy or a murky intuition signal. If you are depressed, anxious, emotionally blocked, or simply not feeling your highest and best, then your conscious mind's voice will be loud and proud. Learning to quiet down this superficial monkey mind layer is the key to unlocking your deeper, far more powerful subconscious mind. The home of intuition is your subconscious mind. Luckily, once meditation's never-ending benefits begin to snowball, you keep with it, okay? Anxiety, depression, and the chattering monkey mind are the first dysfunctions to get buried. Ooh, I love that. With a quiet, conscious mind and easy access to your deep thinking subconscious mind, intuition will flow like a river. I don't know if we could ever stress how important meditation really is. Magnify the whisper of your soul. Guide yourself to an incredible life. Discover meditation. Yeah. So, why take all this time and attention and energy to speak wisdom? Well, because who wouldn't want to have the divine knowledge of God directing our everyday life? It's possible, right? This divine mind of wholeness guiding us to be whole and healthy. The spiritual knowledge of abundance whispering ideas of prosperous living in our inner ear. The invisible essence of love energizing us with compassion for all of humanity. Does anybody not want these things? That's why we speak wisdom. To speak wisdom lifts us to a new level in all of our relationships within our life. It brings us into alignment with harmony, and we experience more peace and more joy, and our spoken word becomes filled with the living essence of spirit, claiming this same peace and joy for anyone who will make a place for it in their hearts. Is that a good enough reason? So I invite you now to enjoy this wisdom from the Okie Dokie Brothers. Here's the lighten up part.
Every day I jump out of bed, splash the water over my head, brush up my teeth, and make sure my ears are clean. These days you gotta be strong, so I do a push-up and I sing a song, pick on the guitar and stamp on the tambourine. Always good to change my socks, put tunes in my toolbox, learn the people good, but learn myself the best. Don't get lonesome, stay glad, take a bath, wear some plaid, work when you can work, but don't forget to rest. And dream good all night long, rise up and sing your song. They say life is hard and they're not wrong, so keep that hope machine running strong. Hadi-o-lady, hadi-o-lady, hadi-o-lady. Plan what you can plan, dance when you can, and laugh at yourself and make up your own jokes. A little bit of fun, a little bit of growth, hopefully a little bit of both. Love your mom, love your pa, and love all kinds of folks. Talk quiet, listen loud, teach humble and learn proud. Scuffle with the struggle and wrestle with the pain. Open homes, open blinds, open hearts, open mind. Let in the sunshine, let in the rain. And dream good all night long. Rise up and sing your song. They say life is hard, they're not wrong. So keep that hope machine running strong. Gotta keep that hope machine running strong. Hadi-o-lady, hadi-o-lady,
Isn't that fun? That's a fun song. Thank you, Tamara. Those are wise words, right?
Yeah.
All in one song. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so I made up a handout for you. And the name of the handout is 20 life-changing questions to ask yourself. And this can be your homework if you choose, in your journaling time. I encourage you. So the handout is up here on the table. The 20 questions are on one side. And because I don't like to waste paper, there's a poster for the street dance on the other side. Okay? So I just want to close with a quote to take with you. Thank you. Not attributed to anyone, but I found this quote online. It says, "Be sure to taste your words before you spit them out." I like that.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are the Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything about, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything about, everything you know, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very remedy. And your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything about, everything you know, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything about, everything you know, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything about, everything we know, everything I know is you.
Okay, now is the time for our spiritual practice of consciously participating in the law of circulation. So if you'll take your gift in hand, knowing that knowledge is knowing the balance of your bank account. And wisdom is knowing that God is your source from an unlimited supply.
Amen.
And so our affirmation is right.
Here.
No, where is it? It's right here. Very
Oh,
short.
my God. Okay. My God is a God of plenty.
Sacred love is all that I am. I am sacred love is all that I am. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. I am deepest joy. I am deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that I am. I am deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that I am. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. I am sacred love. Sacred love is all that I am.
And from the bountiful supply, these blessings are gratefully received as they go forth, blessing our church, our community, and our world. And so it is.
And now we are going to claim our good together. So in your little handout there, we have some statements of truth And we like to say these out loud and claim our good together as CSL. We're just going to go straight down the list. Here we go. My happiness is God's business. Therefore, no one can interfere. I banish the past and now live in this wonderful now, where happy surprises come to me each day. Every person is a golden link in the chain of my good. That's a good one to memorize right there. And the last one, God utilizes every person and every situation to bring me my heart's desire.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
All right, can I put in two more announcements that I forgot to put on? I want to remind you that early service is not next week, okay? We changed having our early guided meditation service from the third Sunday to the fourth Sunday. So if you come, we'll be here anyway, so that's fine, but it will be on the fourth Sunday. The second one, because next week is the third Sunday, we have potluck. Afterwards, we will have potluck out here. And after potluck, we have our third Sunday workshop, which is Motion of Devotion with Roy and I, a singing call and response, kind of a kirtan type of thing, guaranteed to raise your vibration. We will be doing that inside at 1 p.m. Okay? Our last affirmation is again on your handout.
And see you Friday evening
Friday
for
evening.
David's Talk.
We got a lot going
Bring
on.
lots of folks. You don't want to miss that one.
Yeah, bring
Okay.
your friends.
Our last affirmation, here we go, on your handout. I have perfect confidence in God, and God has perfect confidence in me.